Hi, I'm Mark. I'm the children's librarian at the Cleveland Public Library, the Mount Pleasant branch, and we are here for Thoughtful Thursday, week 5 of Summer Lit League. What if we can time travel? And I'm sitting here with Lisa, who works in history, and she spends a lot of time looking at maps. Maps of the future and maps of the past. Well, mostly maps of the past.
Mostly maps of the past, but thanks for having me anyway, Mark.
Awesome.
And I wanted to take some time to show you and Mark some maps from the past so you can make those maps for the future. Are you ready?
Yes, let's take a look.
Okay. So right now we are looking at a map from 1858. Do you know where this is, Mark?
I have no idea.
This is downtown Cleveland and the Cuyahoga River. And we can travel in the future from this map to different years, including 1874, 1881, 1889, and 1927 and 37. Do you notice anything different in any of those maps?
The streets are different.
The
That's
streets-
one thing.
the streets
The
are
streets are
different.
totally different.
Yeah, there's a lot more buildings. And do you think there's a lot more color?
Yeah, definitely. What does the color mean?
The color for these maps is the kinds of buildings that they represent. So any pink building on a map is made of brick. Any kind of blue spot is water. Anything that is gray is made of stone.
Wow.
And then you also see like big swaths, big sections of green, which are green spaces. And now, I won't put you to the test, but I do want to show you something you might be familiar with. Do you want to take a look at some old library branches?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Drum roll, please. Okay. So, I'm not going to tell you where these are, but we're going to take a look before they were actually built. So you take a look at this section. You see the streets, you see the buildings, we see schools, we see churches, we see the owners of businesses. And now, are you ready for when the library pops up?
Yes.
All right, so in the future, the library shows up and the whole neighborhood changes. Now we
Wow.
have more housing, we have the same businesses, public schools, we have churches, but now we also have the important library right in the middle.
Oh, the Sterling branch.
Yeah, which is, I want to say, one of the oldest buildings in Cleveland Public Library. So this one's tricky, and I'll let you know that. But here's a section where a library branch is right now in the present. But it doesn't look the same at all in the past. There's a big pond, there's not a lot of buildings, and if we change it, it's still not where it is today, which is weird, right? Instead, it's way over here at a different location. Boop. So this is where the Glenville Public Library was, and it moved from Parkwood Drive down to St. Clair Drive.
Wow.
Because this is before the current building existed. But you can see this whole section has a theater, there's a public school, there's lots of companies, there's a Glenville Center building. This is a very busy section of town, and again, library is right in the middle of it. So we can see how these places affect our surroundings and how we think about our surroundings.
Wow. Wow. That's amazing. So what do you do with all this information? You think about the past, you think about the future. I chose to think about my own house, of what my house looked like 120 years ago, because my house was built in 1900, so my house is 121 years old. So I thought, using my imagination, that there wouldn't be as many homes around my house. So here is my home And here are some trees. And since there's not a lot of buildings and people, you might see Bigfoot walking around near my home. So think about that. Think about your apartment that you might live in, your grandma's house. What did it look like in the past? What might it look like in the future? If you're a little bit younger and you're thinking, Mr. Mark, I can't even tell time, take a look at your own house and think, what would I like in my house? What would make my house better? What would make my apartment better? Maybe think of a new invention that might make your home look different. So it's all up to you. Think about going into the past or going into the future. Thanks for tuning in.